Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you right now is something that I have wanted to show you, but breaking news got in the way. Davey Hogg had himself a interview / debate with Spike Cohen. Now, I want to show you some things that he said, and this is something that I think is so crucial around a lot of gun control, which he undermined unintentionally. And this is just one of like 30 segments. But I think that this is an important one. So everything's going to be linked in the description box below. And please make sure you let me know what you think in the comments field and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And with that, let's get into Davey Hogg, gun control extraordinaire, who came to a debate, in my opinion, completely unprepared. But that's neither here nor there, because I'm not going to tear him apart for who he is or anything of that nature, because he's putting forward some points which are undermining gun control inadvertently and completely highlighting the silliness of the argument themselves, but I don't think he realizes what he's saying. Check this out. We're going to go through two clips really quickly. Here's the first one, and it's going to set up into the second one. Check this out. This was in a debate this past weekend.
The closest interpretation to what we would have today if we did have a Second Amendment that was as aligned as possible with what the founders wanted is not something I think that I would be happy with, and I also don't think it's something that Spike would be happy with. Because what it would mean is effectively every 18 to 45-year-old man, white man in particular in the United States, would be required or either provided an M16. And the federal government would be allowed to come into your house and ensure, without a warrant, that you actually have that firearm in the first place. I think none of us wants that to be the case for multiple reasons on both sides of this table.
So two things here, and this is really, really important. This is just the setup, because what he's going after here is he's trying to draw parallels to the Second Amendment and when it was written in the founders and how they were in error when they wrote it and what their intentions were because it wouldn't pass today's constitutional muster. That's where he's attempting to go. Now, the only problem with that is this is a guy who is fully endorsing Ethan's law. Well, Ethan's law is a safe storage law. That's a mandated safe storage law. In the rest of this debate, he openly says he wants universal background checks. He wants national registries. So we're going to go into all of that. But just on the base level, what he just said, Ethan's law is a mandated safe storage law of which the government would have to go and check in order to enforce it. Who has what gun and where if it's stored safely per the enforcement in that law. He just openly said no one wants that on either side of the aisle. So Davey doesn't want Ethan's law, and he doesn't want mandated safe storage laws, even though he's fully advocating for them later. This is an incredibly important piece to this because the cyclical logic of the gun control debate, it always goes back and steps on itself and then continues to step on itself in a circle, all circling around safety and common sense gun control regulation. There is no A to B to C linear thinking. It is only, well, I want to be safe, so I want Ethan's law. Well, I want to be safe, so I don't want the government mandating warrantless searches. Which one? Because you can't have both of them. That's the whole point. There is no linear end result other than take guns. Now, Davey is openly saying he doesn't want to take guns in the next clip. But listen to this, and we're going to bypass the whole mandated ownership thing because that if you're mandated to own something and he has a problem with that, but he doesn't have a problem with someone mandated not to own something, that's a little inconsistent. The only difference is his outcome versus the other. But anyway, that's a different thing. I want to hit this second clip and get into this because there's a lot of meat in here that is just very, very deep and needs to be distilled. Check this out. Second clip.
And in Massachusetts, it's not necessarily easy to get a gun, but personally, I don't believe it necessarily should be because part of having a well-regulated militia, we understand in the context of what that meant, was well-trained, obviously, because they wanted to ensure that at the time they were worried about having standing armies for obvious reasons. They needed to have well-trained people to serve in the place of that army. And to me, what the closest interpretation, what I would like to see in the future, my dream scenario is not one where everybody has their guns taken away. It's one where we federalize Massachusetts state gun laws. And that's not necessarily going to prevent all gun violence. I'll be the first to admit that. But I believe it can lead to a substantial reduction in.
Did you catch that? Let's just hit those 2 points really quickly because this is key. He undermined two very large portions of the gun control ethos. The first one, the well-regulated militia myth that the left puts forward around gun control. They say that well-regulated meant well-controlled because regulation means control. So therefore, they meant well-controlled firearms. He just threw that completely out the window. He just openly said in a national debate around a gun control advocate for the next Gen Z, March for Our Lives founder, just said that the militia being well-regulated meant being well-trained. So we can officially say that whole argument of well-regulated means more gun control, that's out the window. That's dead. Davey just said it in a debate. Everyone knows it. You just heard him say it. That's massive. Now here's the other thing. He says, well, I don't want anyone to take anybody's guns. I just want Massachusetts level gun control to be federalized. Well, Massachusetts gun control is a lot of the things that he's saying that he doesn't want. So he'll lead off by saying, I don't want people to have warrantless search and seizures and have their guns taken away. Massachusetts has pretty egregious red flag law abuses, has a lot of licensing requirements. There's lots of things in Massachusetts which he's pinning his hat on conflict with what he's saying in this debate. But let me show you. I want to run through the end here again because he said something else really, really important.
And that's not necessarily going to prevent all gun violence. I'll be the first to admit that. But I believe it can lead to a substantial reduction in it.
All right. This is so key and important to understand because what you're hearing are the internal conversations that are happening inside these gun control debates. Gun control conversations. He just said, my dream scenario is the ultimate gun control in the United States. I also know that it's not going to resolve all gun violence, but it could potentially substantially reduce it. He just openly said, my dream scenario, I'm not under the illusion that it's going to take all the guns and stop all the crime. Okay, but it might be able to reduce some of it. So you're willing to build a national federal registry, a universal background check system, which means you have to know where every single gun is. You have to have Ethan's Law, which allows people to go in and check where the guns are and sue them and find them and get them in trouble if they don't. But you don't think it's going to do anything. This is the key point. All of the infringements that he just listed, it shouldn't be easy to get a gun. Well, it's one of your constitutional rights, so that's awkward. But it shouldn't be easy to do that. And I don't think that it'll reduce eliminate gun violence, and no one does. Well, the gun controllers tell us it will. So now you're getting a maybe as an end result in order for a guaranteed infringement. You are trading your rights through a guaranteed infringement upon those rights for it might reduce maybe. That's why these debates are so important. Davey's never done a debate before. And you can see pretty clearly why. He was all over the place. He got his butt handed to him in this debate. But what's important is you're seeing the thinking and the cyclical logic that has no place in a well-informed discussion, and the facts are clearly on our side, while emotion is all they've got. And that's what I've got for you guys. I'm going to have a lot more of these clips, but let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.